So
Please
today
go.
I'll be presenting about a comparative approach to understand the current ethno-technique of ironsmith of South and West India, a case study of Karnataka and Gujarat. And this is a primary research to understand the technology of current wisdom of ironsmith working and trying to connect with the archaeological assemblage in the field of, especially in the field of archaeological studies. So why we need to do a comparative analysis in the field of archaeology, and especially in the my field, iron technology, production of iron technology of current or otherwise in archaeological assemblage. The comparative analysis plays very important tool to understand the technology of current and past. At present, the comparative research shows a different view of archaeological assemblage, and with the help of ethnographic approach. Ethnographic is a one tool, and with the ethnographic we can have subdivided of the comparative tool, which is very helpful to understand the especially technology ways, not only iron technology, aspects like a bead technology and copper and other such technologies. The comparison of material trials to explore the variety of variation of over space and time as long as history in archaeology. A comparison necessary to understand the material record, for one cannot identify or understand an object never before seen without comparing into the known object. A comparison also necessary to understand the variation over time and space. This research focus on similarity and variation of recent ironsmith workers of study area. So everybody knows that in archaeological evidence shows the iron was being used all over the India, and this technology has been handed over from one person to another within a limited group of people. In India, still there are few tribes which manufacture the iron from iron like Asuras and Mundas and Agarias in central India. But other parts of country, it's very rare to find a very rare food, and it is not in the process to make a iron smelting process. So there's a Agarias and Asuras which community, they they have the smelt the iron, but they have other other works such as agriculture and other activities also. But this iron working nowadays, it became so expensive to do the working. So sometimes they do workshops in schools and colleges. There we have in NIAS we have one experiment of iron technology, and some even in the IGRMS and especially in Deccan College, they have workshops of smelting process. So in iron technology, the two processes are, which is primary process and secondary process. So iron technology is a long process which to understand. So in my PhD thesis and the recent work, I my focus on primary process to smelt the primary process, which is the first thing. The primary process is to smelt the iron ore or to bring out the rough iron from the ore. In another way, we can define that to separate the rough iron and slag from the iron ore. The secondary process is to smith the iron weapon to make a necessary weapon, a tool from the rough iron. So in this research, I focus on a secondary process, which is a give a great idea to understand the smith behavior and settlement pattern and workshop location and the structure of furnace and mill. So that I here research is totally compare for two different regions, but the same technology, which is which is passing through so many generations. So study area, my focus of study area is a two site in Gujarat and Nizampur, which is a local area located 10 kilometers away from MS University of Baroda, and Tingalore is local area located 15 kilometers away from Bangalore main bus stand. So the aim of the research or aim of the study area to take is what it's two sites are two settlement is mostly are the urban settlement, not a rural settlement. So in the is concerned to take the opportunity to understand the urban settlement to give the lot of theories of outcoming to understand the technology. Like in urban aspects, we can see how they are adapt to the urban location, and especially in Ainsmith, and we can understand the migration from rural to urban. So if you take the rural aspects, so it is very difficult to understand the migration and other aspects. But if you as concerned to urban, they have like we can understand their occupation, what are the assignment occupation they do. So the research has taken the two sites of urban area, but still for this talk I have focused on only two sites in Nizampura and Tingalore, but I have surveyed of total survey of Borada and Udaipur in Western India, and in South India I surveyed of Bangalore and North Tamil Nadu. So aim of the research, this research aim to provide a framework of further research into iron technology by Asian world literature and evidence of ethno-archaeology and archaeology. The main focus of the research to identify the technological difference and similarity between Western India, Gujarat, and South India, Karnataka. The main focus of this research to understand the structure of workshop area, structure of furnace, community, a source of labors, anvil, and making of the tools. The author has taken a reference on urban change of ironworking in two different regions of same technology. So methodology, what methodology I used to literature and over review of iron smelting, visiting the iron technology workshop for two different regions, analysis of two regions of Asian technology of different parameters. So first I will explain about the Nizampur iron smith workers. Then I will explain about the Tingluru iron-smith workers. Then I will do the comparative analysis of two technologies. In the case of Gujarat and Rajasthan, there's a Godiya Lagas or Rajput Logas. In the research, author has taken a study of Rajput Logas who migrate from Rajasthan to Gujarat. The ironworking is a most important and basic unity of Rajput Logos of iron production. And like a rural Rajput, they have several seasonal works like smithing and other agriculture. But in the case of rural Rajput Logos, they have only a smithing that the iron production of the whole year. In the case of smelting process, Rajput Logos has no knowledge of smelting process as concerned as meaning indicating of a primary source, primary process of smelting. So they have no knowledge of a smelting process, and they buy the raw material from the steel and iron market and produce the iron implements, or sometimes they get the raw material from the person who gives an order. Here, author would like to talk about the detailed manner of ironsmith in Nizampura. And the following as per settlement or workshop place, structure of furnace, anvil, bellows, and the production of iron objects. So settlement of Rajput, the settlement and the workshop place are joined together of Rajput Logas. The workshop is always located outside and just in front of the entrance to the house. The location of workshop is always shifted according to the work convenient of ironsmith. The settlement of workshop place is simple and less planning of the workshop place, due to often they migrate from one place to another. So Rajput Logas, they keep migrating every like 6 months or 1 year. They keep migrating plus with their location, but the migration it won't go more than like 50 or 100 kilometers. So keep their roaming at same places. So bellows is a really interesting subject. The use of bellows to supply combustion of air to charcoal to increase the higher temperature to melt the iron ore. So this bellow plays a very important role to increase high temperature and maintain the temperature to melt the iron ore. So this bellows can used in iron smelt first primary process and secondary process also. There are many types of many types and size of bellows are currently. All ironsmith workers are currently using machine boilers because of it is rare to get the leather boilers, and it has to maintenance of leather boilers. So it's very tough, but still some of the iron workers like especially in the Pune, it's an area called Vishantawadi, there's a one ironsmith, still they have a leather bellows which is brought from Solapur. So while the author studying about the bellows, there's a question raised why we could not get the like bellows in a archaeological assemblage. The reason is that Asian bellows are made up of wood and leather. So this leather bellows is very challenging to set the leather bellows in the furnace, and it has a lot of mathematics or composition of setting the leather bellows. So author has traced to find the history and making of the leather bellows in the India. The result of research, the author has found the artisans who's making the leather bellows still in Solapur. In Solapur, still near in Solapur, there's only one family which still he does the leather bellow making. And recently in the field of Bellary, I could find another one family which is called Acharya. They do the leather bellow making. So still now I have found two families which is still they're following the methods of making a leather bellows. So anvil plays a very important role in iron smelting. The anvil is a place to make a design, bring iron weapon into the reserve weapon. And the anvil is normally a forging table for the smith and platform to shape the required iron objects. So this anvil is already fit into the wooden block, which we should not move while working at making iron objects. There's a different types and shapes of the anvil. If you see in if you see in goldsmith, there's a very tiny anvil be there, and if you see in case of iron workers, it's a little broader and little heavy of the anvil are found. So in furnace, is a furnace plays a very important role. While understanding, while seeing the furnace, we could see same parameters sometimes in archaeological assemblage. So I could see in my PhD field, I could see the same bowls are found in the site. So in the ironworking process, there's a four types of furnace: soft furnace, multi-hearth furnace, single hearth furnace, bellow furnace, bath smelting furnace. So in the concern of iron smithing, we could see only bowl furnace. So these all parameters are done by Professor Tricote. He's a father of archaeometal studies. So he has he has classified the furnace. So still we follow the same parameters. As concerned to the Western India, we could find only bowl furnace. So not only in Western India, if you survey whole region of Indian subcontinent, of especially in the smithing, we could find only a bowl furnace. So same pattern we could see in archaeological assemblage also, a small bowl furnace. But sometimes when we excavate, we won't bother to understand. We say it's a small pit which is a lot of charcoals, but it is not in case. If we understand the ethnoarchaeology or understand the experiment, we can understand that this is a bowl furnace. So many archaeology sites which are just we found this bowl furnace. And this circular furnace, and mostly it will be one depth. It won't be accurate one depth, but it will be a one depth, because every day they clean their furnace in the case of Western India. The furnace of West India mostly in circular shapes and well plastered. They plaster almost a thick they plaster with a fine clay, and the thickness is very strong. To this plaster is to tolerate the temperature almost 890 degrees Celsius. So this bowl furnace is connected to the bellows, which is supply the air. Here in recently, they use the machine bellows. So techniques and production. The forging is a technique used by Rajput Logas. In the present day, they heat the piece of iron until it becomes a red, and they beat it into with a hammer to bring a deserved shape. They work in a team as a family until while making a tool. They make implements like a knife, chisel, axe. Sometimes they work on building implements and repair it too. So in the concern to family of Rajput Logas, they work as a unity and they work as a family. They won't hire any outside person. Mostly the female. Here also we could see how the gender plays a very important role. So the female plays a important role. The beating the weapon, using the hammer to beat the weapon, and blowing the bellows. So other things are to deserve, other to cutting or to refining, everything done by a main smith. So now I'll focus on ironsmith in Tingalur in Bangalore. As concerned to South India, other has taken two sites of Tingalur, which is located in Bangalore urban place. Is mostly it's in the roadside, and Tingalur of ironsmith was migrated from Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, and Telangana, and they're called Kamalar or Vishwakarma. In the case of Vishwakarma, there's 5 subdivisions of crafts is there, like a copper, wood, stone, and gold, and iron. So they comes under the iron making tools. So Kamara from the Tingalur as a full-time iron working, and they do not have any other occupation, who settle in the urban place. As concerned to if you see rural Kamalars, they have 2 occupations like agriculture. Sometimes they could do other work also. But here in the urban Kamala, they do only focus on only iron working whole year. In the case of smelting process, Kamalas are here also. You can see they have no knowledge of smelting process. As previously said about the primary process, they have no knowledge of primary process. Even I'll do a survey, I've asked about them how you take. They just said that doesn't know about this thing, smelting process. They only a smithing process they know, and mostly they buy the raw material from the market, and sometimes they get from the person who gives an order. Here also I have understand the detail of ironsmith in Tingalur of various parameters, same like what I did in Rajput Lokas. So here you see the anvil and workshop platform. Here also we could see this anvils of sometimes you see in circular shape, sometimes you see in rectangular shapes. And here you see here we can see that anvils of fit into the wooden block, and which can be removable. Morning they fit into, and evening they'll remove this anvil. There are types of there are various types of anvils we could find in South India. And the working platform, we could see in the working platform is available in the as concerned to South Indian iron smelting process and smithing process. So furnace fall, here it is very interesting aspects of furnace fall. As concerned to South India, we could find in only a bowl furnace and circular furnace. In the study area, the depth of furnace is 2 to 3 feet. The depth is very little, very high. The furnace of South India mostly in circular and in shape. The bowl furnace is connected to the blower, which is supply the air. There is a two reason to build the furnace as a logically. The first reason to protect the person who sits behind the furnace or who's working on the bellows. Second reason to avoid the leather bellows to avoid the accident. So mostly the logic things to control the heat or fire, and the fire should not go out of it should not go out of the control. So this valve protects the fire, keep the temperature in the condition, and same time it protects the person who sits. You see the right hand side, the lady was sitting behind the wall. So this is a logic aspects are behind this thing. And if I asked, we in survey, while doing survey, we have asked what was the reason for the wall. So the ironsmith has said it is for it is like a small temple or small shrine for their kulatevas. So it's concerned to in Rajput, so like they doesn't have this wall, but in South India we have found this wall. They keep the small face top of the wall, and the eyes are in the brass or silver sometimes. And it's very made up of very simple clay. And the top they keep first they clean that wall, and they keep the flowers, or sometimes they keep the neem leaf also. So this indicates how they give respect to their Kuladevas. So the settlement of Tingulur Kamala, the settlement of Tingulur Kamala is always away from their workshop due to the lack of place and city development. So it is very difficult to have a small workshop area in the Bangalore city. So they always have a separate settlement and separate workshop area. The working time of Tingulur Kamala starts from the morning 9:30 to evening 5 o'clock. So because they have they have no proper electricity or no proper safety, so they have to bind up their process before 5 o'clock. The workshop place is well planned and clean, and is plastered with the soil, and arrangement of tools and other equipments are kept in a proper place. So whenever we go, the working place will be very clean, and they keep everything organized. So bellows, here also we see that what are the now we can understand what is the necessary of the bellows. And the steps they have numbers, like sometimes they keep a 13 or 12 or 15. So they keep only hard numbers. They doesn't keep even numbers. So this lady is sitting here, right side, if you see the picture. So it is protect the lady also. This is a logic behind this wall. So techniques of protection, they mostly very popular in forging, and mostly in urban Bangalore smith. They consider on the construction work materials, which is like long size chisels and arrow long chisels and small chisels. They does not to make other weapons apart from this. So sometimes they make like a knife, a big knife is Tamil called arval, and some this plowing guard. This all they make. So there's a lot of aspects we could see a similarity and dissimilarity, each and everything. But in this time concern, I took only 7 major points which can be understand the technology of different. So furnace, you can see furnace is concerned to like there's in Western India, the depth of the furnace only 2 feet. In case of South India, the depth of furnace 3 feet, and it is well plastered in Western India. But in case of South India, it is just normally they kept, and they recycle or reuse the small charcoals to rise the temperature. So so again, the wall how the wall plays in South India, the wall plays major role to protect all the necessary activities. But in Western India, there is no I could not see a single in my survey of which ironsmith has knowledge as idea about the making wall. So they doesn't have any wall. And here we could see the two South India and West India, the bellows, the two years are absent. So they have only a pipe, a steel pipe or something. So if you see in archaeological assemblage, we have a lot of iron smelting technology. We found a huge number of tuyas, which we say this is a base of the iron smelting process. But is concerned to in ethnoarchaeology, ethnographic studies, the tuyas the alignment and arrangement is arrangement and alignment is straight, but concerned to Western India, the foreigner person working platform is according to their convenient of Iron Smith. So Envil again we could see Envil in South India medium cast iron and weighted of almost 20 to 25 kgs. The Envil of South India is rectangular and circular in shape. The Envil of South India is fixed in a wooden platform. Envil can be removed and can fit, but in case of Western India, the Envils are not removable. It is fixed for one time. So this Envil, like there's a one the Envil of Western India is fixed at one time, and it's a cleaned shape, and it is every 2-3 months they rework of the Envil. So working platform is the process of working platform to remove the impurities, remove the rusted material from the iron or rod during the process of increasing the temperature. This working platform is a recent development of Ironsmith of South India, and it is convenient for Smith. The working platform is absent in Western India because they remove impurities in anvil itself. The techniques and production, if you see the two region of Ironsmith is very well exploited in forging techniques, and they have learned and these techniques from their father or grandfather from generation to generation. The forging techniques has passed through generation to generation. The object of Western Smith are mostly small chisel knives and handle knives, sometimes repairing work too. The objects of South India are mostly material of construction work, such as big chisels and knives and handle knives, sometimes repairing work too. As concerned to production, this is a very interesting point. As concerned to production of aspects, the Ironsmith of South India and Western India has lost their making a sword techniques. So when I went to a survey of Gujarat, so I asked the question to whether you know the making a sword. He has no idea. When I showed the photo, he understood this is a sword, but yes or no, this we can't make. Miracle pata nahi hai. Like that kind of things, he gave the statement. So there's the Ironsmith of West India is well known as very good in Rajput King's sword, but the present situation say that no idea of making sword. The same case which we could see in South India also. The Ironsmith has lost their making of sword of South Indian Kings. So bellows nowadays is because of like a very fast work, a lot of orders, a lot of busy work. So they what they do, they use the electric work because of this bellows of leather bellows is expensive. It's like it is like a 5 feet of bellows, like a 15 to 20,000. So and to maintain of leather bellows, it's very tough, and it's long time of leather bellows also very weak. So but in case of electricity bellows, they can handle this electric bellows for more than 20 years. And second thing, I have no idea of to buy a leather bellows, because if you buy a leather bellows to arrange or to set the leather bellows, it's a very difficult. So structure of workplace, as concerned to South Indian ironsmithing workshop, is a well planned. Workshops are well plastered in red soil, and structure and location of workshop is always away from the roadside. The workshop is enclosed with the proper materials, and there's a proper roof which can change the roof once in the side. But the land does not belongs to them, so they can change the roof, and they have. So there's a proper plan, stone structure and water tank, charcoal, everything is a proper settlement they have. But the land doesn't belongs to them. They have a it is a roadside near the park. So every year they have they won't migrate, but same time they repair the roofs. And as concerned to Western India, ironsmith workshops are not planned in concern to Western India structure, because they change the location working area from time to time, and they also do travel a lot. But in case of South India, the ironsmith doesn't travel, but in Western India they do travel, especially in the Rajput Logas and Godia Logas. The workshop is always in open place, and they have never constructed the roof, because the structure is our workshop in front of the settlement. They are much comfortable working open area more than closed areas. So settlement pattern, in the study of iron technology, settlement pattern plays a very important role to understand the behavior and the culture of ironsmith of different region. In the case of South India, the settlement is always away from the workshop location, especially in the urban region, due to many factors, such as a workshop location does not belong to the ironsmith, and South India ironsmithing never travel to get a work like a Western ironsmith. In the case of Western India, the settlement and the workshop location join together, and workshop is structured in the front of their settlement, and the Western India ironsmith do travel to get their work. So the observation, it is especially this paper is totally different from the what pure archaeology like Iron Age or megalithic or early historic, but this is a base to understand the archaeological assembly. The main purpose is to above section to understand the field of archaeotechnology compared to ethnology, employing the archaeological cases and illustrate some of the method that might be employed to identify techno culture evolution pattern and about through the theories of technoculture evolution. The above study is to understand the comparative study of same technology, which is using two different regions or cross culture, such as similarity and dissimilarity of iron technology. This study is also to bring the awareness of what we have lost the heritage of iron technology. Through this study, author has shows how current ironsmith of two different regions has lost their technology, which their ancestors used to make such as sword and even they have no knowledge of doing biometallic objects. But in case of archaeological assemblage in excavation, even early historical sites from Rajasthan, we could have from like a site of Iswal, we have one biometric object which is a copper and iron and a bronze. So that kind of object they have no idea to make, and also this study to understand the development and adaptation of current smith for two different regions. So the final statement is that the Indian iron technology is going to the sunset, and it's high time to save and bring back the technology and try to apply the different research theories on our Asian metal heritage. It is a responsibility of researcher to make an awareness among the public and even ironsmith through the various aspects as discussions of past iron technology to the current smith community and encourage them to workshop in schools and college. Even we have like every year we have in NIAS we have a we call the ironsmith from the Tinkalur and other like Chandapur. There's another one area Chandapur. So we call them and have a workshop, and we by like we get trained from them also, and we have a discussion with them what are the techniques they use. So this kind of things it is like to develop or keep the iron technology heritage alive. So with the ethnoarchaeology, whatever I showed with the ethnoarchaeology or a small difference or similarity and dissimilarity, we can understood the iron technology, especially in the megalithic or iron age. When we go for a archaeological field, we easy to understand. Sometimes we get an overlapping furnace. Sometimes we get only a charcoal. Sometimes when we get only 2 years. So when we understand the ethnoarchaeology and experiment, it's easy to suggest the whether this iron smelting process happen or not. Sometimes we won't get anything, just only slag. So what was the reason? We should be sometimes we get only a iron implement, not any kind of iron smelting process. So this study is a base to understand the archaeological assemblies. So here acknowledge heritage science society program team NIAS and ironsmith from Nizampur and Tingalur. Thank you.